Hey there, collectors. My name is Josh. This is Captain Simeon. Remember him? Nah, me neither. Welcome to Talk Action Figures.
I wanna know what you've been hunting, what's your holy grail? I wanna know about the cool thing you got in the mail. I wanna see your whole collection or your latest haul. And I want a spot where we can talk about it all. I wanna talk action figures, why you collect action figures like you'd expect. Guess it figures, this show is called Talk Action Figures.
Hi, and welcome to the first episode of Talk Action Figures. My name is Josh, and I'm a filmmaker who doesn't have a heck of a lot to do right now. I'm coming to you live from my nerd cave in Los Angeles, California. Now, I'm an avid collector. I love collecting, and I collect a bunch of different stuff. But I want to know what you collect, and I want to know why you collect it. More than anything, I want to see your cool collections. So without further ado, let's talk to our first guest. Our first guest is Andrew Joustra. Now, he's a lifelong friend and collaborator, and he's that guy who'll text you a picture of something he saw at Target if he knows you're looking for it. Andrew, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi Josh and Internet, my name is Andrew Joustra, and I am a screenwriter and creative director at Endless Media in Redondo Beach, California.
Is there not going to be a video up there? Because I kind of looked like an idiot. I thought there was going to be a video of him. No? Well, there should be. There should be a... Okay. Yeah. Andrew, tell us more about yourself. He's not up there. Tell us more about yourself. Do you have a favorite project you've worked on or job you've had?
I've worked on a few cool projects over the years. I was in production for feature animation at Paramount Animation and Sony Pictures Animation. Probably my favorite movie that I worked on between those was Smurfs: The Lost Village, which was the fully animated Smurfs movie that came out a few years ago. That was a lot of fun to work on. And then outside of that, my first job was as a cast member at Disneyland. I was at California Adventure, and I worked on a bunch of the stuff at Paradise Pier. So, Little Mermaid Undersea Adventure Ride, Goofy's Sky School, the World of Color show.
What's he doing down there? That's not right.
And I worked there the year that Cars Land opened, which was a really fun time to be there. And another really cool thing I got to be a part of was I was an intern for Marvel Publishing. So in 2010, I got to go up to New York City and work there for a few months in what's called the Heroes Office, which oversaw the Avengers titles, Captain America, the Thanos Imperative, a lot of fun books, and I got to do stuff like ballooning and adding sound effects and writing some of the recaps that were at the beginning of the issues. So that was like a dream come true.
It's up there now. It's just upside down. No, I don't think he displays them that way. Sorry, folks. Just had a few crossed wires. No big deal. First episode problems. Yeah, Andrew. So what do you collect?
I collect all kinds of stuff, from action figures to vinyl toys to art prints, that kind of thing. Probably the biggest thing that I have outside of toys is Tiki mugs, specifically ones that come from the Disney parks. I have a lot of the ones that are, released from the Trader Sam's bars on both coasts, and ones that they've just made for special occasions. And it kind of goes with the theming in my apartment, which is supposed to look like Adventureland Enchanted Tiki Room.
Hey there, toy fans. Obviously, we're still having some technical difficulties, but I've got an idea that's going to fix everything. In the meantime, Andrew, why don't you tell us what got you into collecting?
What got me into collecting, I was an only child, so I was definitely spoiled and had a lot of toys as a kid. And I wasn't huge into sports or outdoors, so my outlet was watching cartoons and movies, and a lot of the time that I spent when I wasn't watching things was playing with toys from those things. My parents kind of limited how much video games I got to play, so I had a lot of time where I was just playing make-believe and having action figure battles and coming up with elaborate scenarios and storylines, which is probably what made me end up wanting to write and tell stories when I got older. The very first thing I collected, I can't remember exactly. I know I got some Batman toys when I was like 2 or 3. Some Ninja Turtles, some Power Rangers, and Star Wars Power of the Force line. That one was the one that was probably where I most actively was like having my mom take me to the toy store and looking for new figures when they came out. And Josh and I actually went hunting for those sometimes. And
Don't drag me into this.
And now it's something that's continued into my adulthood, because I'm a man-child who can't grow up. No, I think part of it is because having little representations of the things that we like, whether it's from childhood or currently around, I think is just very inspiring. It's kind of like having a small piece of art that you can look at, and it just kind of makes you feel a certain way. It transports you to, another time in your life or another place, or makes you feel good. And so that's why I still do it. It's not the worst hobby to have.
Thanks, friend. That was very well put. That was beautiful. And you know what else is beautiful? Chipper, the official Talk Action Figures AV robot. Say hi, Chipper.
Hi, Chipper.
That's a very cute joke. Now, Chipper, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? How's it feel being sentient?
It's great. I can't wait to see a movie or go to a baseball game.
Yeah, we'll bring you up to speed later, Chipper. So, Chipper, I think you're doing a great job. I think the show looks better already.
I just turned a couple lights on. It's not rocket science, and it still looks pretty bad.
Alright, well, never mind that. When I ask Andrew the next question, would you please put a video of him right up here? Give the show even more of a professional look, if you know what I mean.
Why don't you do it? The button's right there on your desk.
You're the official Talk Action Figures AV robot. I built you so I wouldn't have to do this stuff.
You don't make it sound like a lot of fun. Personally, I see myself more as a co-host.
Ay vey. Alright, it's this button here, right?
Yep, that's the one.
So Andrew, what are you collecting these days?
For what I'm currently collecting, toilet paper, ramen noodles, antibacterial wipes. That kind of covers it. No, before the apocalypse began, I was collecting some of the Star Wars Black Series line, some Marvel Legends, some random anime figures like Dragon Ball and My Hero Academia. Way too many different things. Yeah.
There's no such thing as too many collections, am I right, Chipper?
Not for nerds, I guess.
Chipper. Sorry. What would you say is your favorite collectible?
Favorite item in my collection is hard because I have so many cool pieces I've gotten over the years. But probably my very favorite, or at least high up there, is this guy, the G1 Optimus Prime from Transformers. This is not the original one that came out in '84. It's a reproduction that I got because I grew up in the '90s, and they did a bunch of the G1 reissues at Toys R Us, and I remember as a kid just dying to have the original Optimus Prime because at the time they were just selling Beast Wars, which were great too, but I really wanted that Optimus, and eBay was still fairly new, and you could only find him for like, $300 to $500 for an original, which I was never going to get. So when they announced they were doing this and I found it in the store, it was just like overjoyed, and I love playing with it, and I think it's just such a fun piece that is definitely something that like I want to give my kids someday because it's just so well made.
Okay, the Transformers are pretty cool.
See, I knew you'd find something that you got into.
That Optimus Prime's a real hunk of metal.
That's gross, please. Just try co-hosting. Ask Andrew a question or something.
Okay. Hey, Andrew, is any of that valuable, or is it all just a bunch of junk?
No, sorry, Andrew, you don't have to answer that. That's...
As far as a showstopper or crazy thing in my collection, I don't have a lot of stuff that I'd say is super valuable. I've got some toys and statues that are, probably a couple $100, like Hot Toys from Sideshow or some of the rare Tiki mugs that I have. I don't know how much this is worth, but probably this guy. This is a statue that Disney made for the Indiana Jones adventure ride at Disneyland, the Temple of Mara. They only made 300 of these. I believe they were made in 2005. I actually got it on eBay for like a steal a few years later. And it's also just one of my favorite pieces of my collection. I have it here in my adventure themed room. And it's so cool. It looks just like it. And yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. It's not like I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan and don't have that piece. I'm not jealous.
Jeepers, this is hard to watch. Okay, moving on. Hey Andrew, speaking of Indiana Jones, do you have a holy grail? You know, that one thing you really want but don't have yet?
Who even cares anymore?
Holy grail item would have to be a scale R2-D2. They sell one at Galaxy's Edge at both Disney World and Land that you can order. I think it's like $10,000, but it's, looks exactly like in the movies. It's remote control. It lights up. It's, amazing. And that's R2-D2's a character I loved as a kid and is still my favorite Star Wars character. So being able to actually have one rolling around my house would be pretty amazing.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good choice.
I have to say, I respect that you like robots.
Me too. So thanks for being our first guest, pal. We really appreciate it.
Well, thanks for having me. This was fun to do while I was stuck in self-isolation here.
Well, that's the end of our first interview, and I think it went pretty well.
Aside from the fact that you cut him off in the middle of a sentence, and he probably wants to plug something.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe? Go ahead, ask him.
All right, Mr. Robot, what you pushing?
As far as projects for me to plug, Josh and I always have creative projects that we're working on. We have a few spec pilots for animated series, and we also have a feature. So if you need writers or if you're looking for new projects, please hit us up. I also have a personal project called Creators. That's an animated series about robots on the moon. We have an Instagram for that, @the_moon_core, and I've been doing little web comics during the quarantine, so you can check those out and maybe give you a little smile. And then my company, Endless Media, is currently in pre-production on a bunch of movies that may come out someday, so stay tuned for those.
Cool. Thanks, man. And thanks again for being our guest.
Send more Optimus pics!
No, bad robot. And speaking of robots, if you want to check out Andrew's Mooncore comic,
just click the link in the description below our video.
Now our next segment is something we like to call What's Been Worrying Your Wallet. And for me personally, my wallet's a little bit worried about the upcoming slate of turtle figures from NECA. Now NECA has announced a bunch of new figures from the 80s cartoon and from the 90s movie, and they all look amazing.
They're okay, I guess.
As you can see from my collection, I have trouble resisting any NECA turtle offering. They're just such a great company and their figures are really high quality. Although I guess at least I don't collect the Turtles in Time figures. But now that I think of it, maybe I should.
Yeah, from the look of it, you definitely need more toys.
I'm also really looking forward to the Beskar Armor Mandalorian from Hasbro's Black Series. It's a great figure and definitely one I'm going to want to add to my collection. Those are pretty well priced though, so that is just a wallet nervously tapping its foot and looking uneasy.
You didn't really put a lot of thought into this rating system, did you?
Also, I'm very excited about the Hot Toys Mandalorian in Beskar Armor that comes complete with the child.
Aw, Baby Yoda.
No, actually, it's just the child for now. We don't know his real name.
How do you know? Did you ask it?
Well, it's not Yoda. The timeline doesn't make sense.
Oh, don't worry. I have a whole time travel theory. We can talk later.
No, it's definitely... Never mind. Anyway, that one looks pretty great, but also pretty pricey considering it's Hot Toys, so I'm gonna give that a whole nervous vomiting wallet.
Ew, gross. Next segment, please.
Great. And lastly, we also want to talk about the frustrating side of collecting. You know what I'm talking about, that figure that's always falling over, the cloth cape that you can never get to look right. Whatever makes you crotchety about your collection.
Oh no.
And we're calling this segment Collector's Crotch. No, that can't be right. Collector's... We'll think of a better name. But anyway, Collector's Crotch.
You're saying that way too much.
So for our first episode, I'll share my Collector's Crotch.
Please don't.
We really need to change the name of this segment.
I tried to tell you that.
Now, I really like Mega Bloks, and I love their Ninja Turtles line. I have the whole set, and I've built most of it.
And that's something to brag about?
But I've had this Technodrome playset for years now, and I still haven't finished it. In fact, even being in isolation with not a heck of a lot to do, I promise you I won't finish it. And for those of you who have this set, you know why.
Because you're lazy?
It's because Mega Bloks doesn't separate their pieces into separate bags per step like Lego does, which is a great system. And the reason for a system like that is so you can keep track of what pieces you need. Mega Bloks decided, hey, we'll put all our pieces in one big bag and let the fans figure it out.
Sounds like a real mess if you ask me.
And I'm sorry, Mega Bloks, but I'm just not smart enough.
Trust me, they know.
This has been Collector's Crotch, a soon-to-be-renamed segment.
I don't know how, but we've already gotten complaints.
Alright, that's it for our first episode. Thanks so much for watching. I don't know about you, but I had a lot of fun, right, Chipper?
Yep, you sure did.
Great.
Haha, just kidding. Thanks for watching, everyone. Email us if you want to be featured on the show, and don't forget to click subscribe.
Alright, toy fans, it's been great talking with you. Stay safe out there, and make it a good day.